Well, that's it. Christmas is over, and as my nail varnish is starting to crack, I thought it would be a really good idea if I started taking down the Christmas decorations. Hello there, I'm Julie from Julie Davis Flower Workshops and Flower Start, the online flower arranging classes. Now, the way I like to do my decorations, they arrive slowly and they disappear slowly. So my decorations, I like to think, have a bit of a timeless quality to them. And that means not only do they not date year from year, but also they have a little bit of longevity into the new year. And there's normally something I find around about February that I've never packed away. So let me know in the comments, when do you start taking down your decorations? Do you wait until 12th night, which is traditional here in the UK, or do you take them down straight after Christmas, on Boxing Day, before New Year's Day, on New Year's Day? Let me know in the comments. So I'm going to start this weekend, and it actually happens to be New Year's Eve as I'm filming, and just a slow takedown. Now, school starts again next week, which is before 12th night. So although I like to think about taking my decorations down on 12th night, if 12th night is after the start of school, I do always try and make sure that the bulk of the decorations are packed away, or down at least, before we go back to school. So my Christmas tree has got a reprieve of a few more days. I'm going to start here in the kitchen, a strange place to start because I don't go overboard with decorations in the kitchen, although this year we did have an amazing light show. So if you're a member of my free Facebook group, Flower Star World, you'll see me doing a tour of my Christmas lights the day before Christmas Eve, so that would have been the 23rd of December. Some of them are plugged in the electric sockets, others are battery operated, so I need to remember to take out the batteries and recharge them, and where those batteries weren't rechargeable batteries, to make sure I put them in my bag ready for recycling. So I've been using these little suction hooks to fix my lights, to hook my lights onto the kitchen window. So they're really easy to use. I normally just moisten that pad there, and then you attach it onto the window, and then you pull the hook down, and that's what creates the vacuum and allows your hook to stay in place. So I bought these locally, but if you're interested in sourcing the same, I'll try and find some on Amazon and leave the details in the notes underneath this video. My windows will need cleaning. You'll notice that when you put the suction cups up, they leave a little circular mark in them. So I'm going to use my homemade spray, which is 50% white vinegar and 50% distilled vinegar as well, and take my microfiber cloth. I'm only going to spot clean my windows though, because we have a regular window cleaner who comes round, and I know that he's coming again in January, and he's scheduled then to do the outside the windows and the insides too. So I'm not going to spend ages trying to wipe off the smeary marks, because I know the professionals will be coming in to do the job in just a couple of weeks. But I just don't want to be looking on those days where you just see this sort of little circles on the top of the window. It's going to look dirty, so I just want to make sure I spot clean them and it looks good. So I'm going to, what I tend to do with my spray is spray it onto the cloth. I find if I spray it onto the window, there's too much of an overspray. Now the dog's waiting to come in, so I'm just going to let her in. And then I turn the cloth over just to dry off. And of course, the only problem with taking down your decorations is you realise how dirty your house has become over the festive season. And I don't normally get up on a stool and look on the top of my fridge, but it certainly needs a wipe down too. So hopefully, neat and tidy, ready for next year. These are some of the battery operated lights I had. So I will need to take the batteries out. And then these are the ones that are rechargeable. So if I am organised, if I recharge them now, they'll be available to use throughout the year. I won't be searching around for batteries. And then keep it all neat and tidy by wrapping it back around the case. And the last few turns, and that's all done. So to stop that unravelling, I'm going to split open the wires and hook those over one of the other bulbs, and hopefully it won't unravel. And then put those batteries in my recharging unit. I think you need to have either 2 or 4 in at a time. So let's find myself another battery. Plug that in. I've got that plugged in now. The lights are on red, and once they're green, the batteries will be charged. So I'm just going to try and start at one end and work my way along my windowsill. We'll have to see whether I pack everything away or whether I decide to keep some bits and pieces to enjoy for a little bit longer. One thing that's definitely going though is this little candle arrangement. Do you remember when I flicked through lots of Christmas magazines and I came across an image very similar to this? So it looks lovely on my kitchen window, again hung up with one of those suction hooks, but it's never really been stable, and to be honest, the candle has been balanced against the kitchen window. I did light it once, but it ended up creating a streaky flare against the window, so I just decided not to light it and to enjoy it as it was. And now over time, the Norwegian Christmas pine is just shattering, and that's what Christmas trees used to do in the olden days, isn't it? As soon as they got dry indoors, the needles would just fall off. So I have got my composting bin here. I'm going to take the candle off and then unravel this. It's attached on with a piece of wire, so I just need to remember to put the piece of wire in the bin, and everything else can fall into my compost bin. A much better use of my candle was to clip it to my plate as I enjoyed the last of my homemade stollen. There's going to be a bit of tidying up needed here because the needles have also shattered over the windowsill. Look at my lovely Hallmark movie house, another charity shop find. And because I've got little electric lights in them, I didn't light it very often because it meant leaning over and flicking it on and flicking it off. So there's plenty of life left in these lights. I like it when it's on permanently. I think that's the setting. Sadly, the little battery pack doesn't fit inside, so it always has to be wedged up behind. So I might just keep that out for a little bit longer. I still haven't got that right on there. Twinkle flash. There, on steady. This is a little pot plant I was gifted. A hostess gift to me. Came beautifully wrapped up in gold tissue paper with this little heart-shaped Christmas bauble on it. I'm not particularly good with pot plants, and I do wonder whether it's been a little bit cold on my windowsill for it, but it definitely needs watering. So I'm going to run some water, washing up bowl, and then just leave it in there while I carry on cleaning up. Pine needles. I might keep my Christmas teapot up for a little while longer too. And that's the beauty of having the hint of Christmas rather than everything saying Merry Christmas on it. So I'm definitely going to put my Father Christmas sleigh away. The hyacinths are going to temporarily go outdoors. Those gold holly leaves are a new find this year. They cost me £1 a bunch just a couple of weeks ago. And also the little white jug, that was a cardboard find. Was it last summer or the summer before? I'm not quite sure. So again, I'm using my all-purpose homemade spray to clean off before I move to this little favourite corner of my kitchen. I've had these tissue paper balls for so many years, and to be honest, they're falling apart, but I can't quite bear to get rid of them. And my little Christmas tree thrifted last year, a red thermos flask, and lots of things that need washing up. Rather annoyingly, our hot tap runs cold until the water heats up, so it looks like I'm wasting loads of water. But I'm taking the opportunity just to give things a little bit of a pre-rinse before I put what can be washed in the dishwasher in the dishwasher, and then I'll move on to my hand washing. So I've got a couple of Christmas mugs there that can't go in the dishwasher. I've got a Ray Dunn thrifted bowl which I put my satsumas in this year. And then I have got a rather magnificent green glass bowl, which I bought from a charity shop many years ago. It cost me £3. It's really, really heavy. And as we already have a fruit bowl, it's ended up being put on the fridge as a catch-all for all my husband's bits and bobs, bits of things he needs in the garden. I always find it such a bind doing the hand washing. It tends to stack up. Normally I'd put rubber gloves on to protect my nails, but as my nail varnish is chipping off after the festive period, I'm at that stage now where it really does need to be taken off totally, so I'm not being too careful with my hands. This is the green bowl I was telling you about. It is absolutely huge. I've always been attracted to green glass. Ever since as a young girl, I used to love the green dressing table set that always sat on my granny's dressing table. It had a tray and a little ring holder. Absolutely beautiful. And those of you who've been to Zoom flower class over the years probably recognise the white enamel tray, which I originally used to make a foam-free flower arrangement using lots of festive foliage. And if you want to catch up on my flower arranging classes, do check out the shop section of my website, and you'll find lots of classes there that you can download and enjoy in your own time. I don't know about you, but sometimes I've found these house duties overwhelming with the amount of time they take, so I do like to break things down into little sections. So while I leave my dishes to drain before I dry them with a tea towel, I'm going to go through the with my broom and my dustpan and brush and just tidy up, including brushing up underneath the table. And you can see what a total mess the whole kitchen is as I clean one section and then pile up all the rubbish on the other side of the kitchen. So that's that green bowl put away on the top of the fridge. I guess this is the good thing about taking down your Christmas decorations. You really do get the opportunity to have a really deep clean, because we've not been able to get to anything for the last few weeks. So I'm doing a bit of hand washing, putting away, and the big red thing in my sink, that's the top of my bin. It got rather yucky over the Christmas period, and as the bins have gone out today, it's a good opportunity that every time I empty the bin, I clean the top of it. And once everything is moved off the kitchen sink, I then use the tea towel just to wipe down, leaving my sink nice and shiny. Having swept the kitchen floor, my next job is to actually mop it, and I really love my electric floor mop. So what I'm doing here is filling the water vessel and then adding in some essential oils, so the house is going to smell really lovely. This water vessel then clicks into the cleaner, and then once that's in place, I then turn on the power, wait a few moments, you'll see some steam rising, and then you use the little mop as you would do a brush, and any stubborn stains, you just go backwards and forwards. And then once that job's finished, I take off the pad, that will go in the washing machine with other my cleaning cloths, and then I add on a new pad ready for next time. I'm feeling quite accomplished because I managed to do a really deep clean of my kitchen, as well as putting away my Christmas lights. It's now New Year's Day, so Happy New Year, and I hope all your dreams come true. So today's project, I just want to spend a little bit of time in my dining room taking away Christmas and welcoming in the new year. So the first thing I'm going to do is to clear the table of all the bits of random cutlery, glassware, napkins and unused Christmas crackers, and make sure I put them away all washed and cleaned. I've brought a tray in, so I'm not going backwards and forwards all the time, so I'm hoping to be able to load this up in one go. I set my table for 4, although there's only 3 of us, so I've had one place setting that's gone unused throughout the festive period. So I've really been enjoying using my plates, and you never guess what, our family secret Santa gave me another of these plates, which is the Enoch Woods collection by Woodsware. And this is my Burzum plate, a little cherry plate. I've got one with a plum on it as well. So these are recent finds at our local vintage street market. And this was my festive flower arrangement. It has lasted really well for the season, although it doesn't bear close inspection. I've got some curly brown petals And my roses, now before I show them, I should say my roses must be 2, if not 2 and a little bit weeks old. From a distance, it doesn't look too bad. And then the tablecloth. So it has got a little bit of crumbs on it. So I'm going to take that off the table and then shake that outside and then put it in the wash. You'll notice I've got this blanket underneath my tablecloth just to give an extra bit of cushioning. It's not quite big enough, so what I have done is I have been out to the charity shop and put on my wish list that I wanted a blanket that would fit and I would cut round into a circular shape. So fortunately this one fits, so what I'm going to do is to measure up around the edge and cut off the fringe tassel just so it's hidden under the tablecloth. So I can see that that is the middle of the tablecloth where it's been folded. What I might do is to put the flowers back on to weight it in place and then go and get my scissors and cut all the way around the edge. I reckon 13 centimetres from that top ridge. Perhaps even a little bit longer. Perhaps I could go to... No, can't go to 15. Be too short there. It's fine round there, fine round there, fine round there. Perhaps no, I'm going to go 13. So I've got some cardboard packaging here. And if I measure out 13 centimetres, that should give me a guide. 13. So I've measured out 13 centimetres, so I then fold that along there and put it around the edge. I can just cut on that bottom edge. Always slightly nerve-wracking when you're cutting into fabric, although because this blanket doesn't belong to me, I'm doing it with much more confidence. I wouldn't want to be doing this with something that had sentimental value. I'm going to start on the fringed edge on the corner here, because there is a lady in town that uses fabric for projects, offcuts, to save them going into landfill. And I think that, well, if I was her, I would prefer to have a long length of fringe to play with, rather than a shorter bit if I cut it in the wrong place. So here goes. So having made my undercloth, I think I'm probably going to pack this away for the moment and just ring the changes. And I'm going to set my table with a little bit of candlelight. So what I have got here is a cake plate with a collection of glass candlesticks and some festive candles. And I didn't use this setup. I was thinking I would have all my candlelight for my New Year's Eve dinner. But as you may have heard, as I've been walking around filming this morning, that we have wooden floorboards, and also the cake plate isn't totally flat. So every time I walk across this floor, I can hear the jangle of the glassware as it knocks together, which is ever so slightly disconcerting. But as a sort of place marker to welcome in the new year, it does look very pretty, and it has a nice airy lightness to it. I need to change the date on my perpetual calendar. So here we are, January the 1st, 2023. move a few things off my mantelpiece. So originally I had my battery operated candles in this candelabra, but I think I prefer the fresh look of white and glass. As I pack away my Christmas decorations, I have got a little bit of DIY I need to do. This is a cross stitch which I picked up from the charity shop this year. It was in a really awful green frame. It was falling apart. So I've put it in a frame that I had upstairs, but the cross stitch is bigger than the frame, so I've asked my husband for a piece of his artist cartridge paper, so I'm going to remount it. I think the cross stitch looks much better with the white backing to it, and that brings me to the end of this week's video. So I do hope you have enjoyed cleaning up with me after Christmas. Don't forget to give the video a like, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments when you're planning to take your Christmas decorations down, or perhaps you're way ahead of me already. That's all for me for now, and I'll see you again next time.